Time 7 p.m. onwards. $50 early bird tickets and $120 for Sky Lounge tickets. Contact on IG at Royal Entertainment VIP for more details on Sky Lounge. Ticket location includes all cell outlets: ENE Fashions, Empire 758, Calamity, Verve, T Cuisine, and Falco. Reach for summer. Reach for greatness. Guinness. Sounds of greatness. Pay more at the door.
Man, feel like a champ right now. Yeah. Smiling to the bank right now, yeah.
Welcome to Youth Voices with your host, Miss Edisa Eugene, where we focus on youth advocacy, youth empowerment in academics, entrepreneurship, sports, marginalized youth, and more. Tune in every Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Youth Month 2022. Bouva Assam et toute jeunesse. Evolve. Growing youth for an inclusive and transformed society. Are you ready?
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Boston, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside. Every morning, I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside. Every morning, I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing, so when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to this, I'm blessed, oh man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. As far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as far as I can.
Good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of Youth Voices. I am your host, Miss Edisa Eugene, and it is always a pleasure to be back on just to have discussions with our young persons and to interact with you, our listeners. Of course, today is no different. This afternoon, we are just going to be focusing on something mainly today. Most of you would have already seen we engage in a youth symposium with our young persons of Soufrière. And so, as one of those being there today, I have one of the participants who was also present, and we will just basically be telling you a little about our symposium, some of the issues that we as young persons would have addressed during that symposium. So of course, I would like to welcome Ms. Ferrya Simon, which is no stranger to us. She's back in studio with me today. The last time we had her in the capacity of her serving as the president of the Fossenjak Youth and Sports Club. However, this afternoon, she is here just as one of the participants who was part of our youth symposium. So good afternoon to you, Ms. Simon.
Good afternoon, Miss Eugene. Thanks for the opportunity.
Of course, Ms. Simon, I took her on the spot today, but she's always willing and ready to assist and to just feedback when it comes to youth work. And so I am very happy that you didn't say no to me today, Miss Simon, and you decided to just take up the mantle to be the one to chat with me this afternoon. And of course, we're diving right into it. So as I said, today we had our youth symposium where you would realize we're trying to put some strategic plans together for our young persons leading up to the year 2040, hoping that it could be accomplished. And of course, we had young persons around Soufrière just being present. And it was nice that we had a great turnout, a balance with the youth, and just receiving so much feedback. And so Yes, we were able to cover many topics such as entrepreneurship, employment, crime mitigation, you name it. So, of course, this afternoon we will start with discussing some of the challenges, key actions, support we believe which is required, um, and so on, even a success criteria for different areas, key sectors when it comes to our young person. So we will start with employment and entrepreneurship, right? Which is an issue, but at the same time is something that many persons don't take their time to really analyze. So, Miss Simon, in terms of employment and entrepreneurship, to you being a young person, what would you say are some of the challenges?
Well, good afternoon again. Some of the challenges that I believe that young entrepreneurs or people seeking employment have, especially for entrepreneurs, well, one of the points that was raised at that symposium is the accessibility or availability of funds.
Right.
And also the ability to actually access the funds. The funds are there. Like I probably did propose, Small Business Development Bank is giving, and First National Bank. But however, as a young individual, your one of the challenges that they might be facing is, how do I access those funds? And even when I get the form to fill in, am I able to do it competently so I can actually access those funds? And even some parts of the criteria would be asking you for your financial statements. They'll be asking you for different information, and then it clicks to you and like, but I don't have that. And how do I get to that part for me to actually access those funds? Because majority of the times, those funding agencies already have the structure as to what exactly they need to ask for these individuals for them to get access to these funds.
Right.
So that's actually the issue, one of the issues that young entrepreneurs face.
Now, before we move on to another issue, I want us to dwell on this for sure. So today, a lot of our young persons saw that as an issue when it comes to, especially entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That there are many requirements when it comes to trying to even start up your business or putting it in the right place.
Yes.
So, for example, like you mentioned, finance. While it is hard already to even access finance, they make it even harder when you don't even really have what it takes, and they're asking you, hey, do you have whatever document to show collateral? Some young persons don't have that. Some persons are lucky, but persons of youthful age nowadays, you
Yes.
cannot really say that they have that at hand.
Especially those who are just coming from, probably they drop out, or they're just coming from a secondary school, and they want to start up their own business. Even whilst in school, you have young persons who have the talent.
Right.
For example, I know one that does crochet right now, and then she's doing really great. Then the question probably she might ask is, how can I build on what I'm already having?
Right.
I have the talent already, I'm already doing it, but how can it be sustainable? And that's one issue that entrepreneurs do have, against sustainability. And you get the idea and you get the structures through different courses. And then you ask, where can I get the courses? Or do I have to do it online? And again, funding again. Do I have the monies to pay or to travel or to just to get the startup and get the whole thing going?
Right.
That's the issue.
Yes, and that is very true. Now, looking at it, we do have a lot of small businesses in Sufre, but again, how many of these businesses are even registered? And I don't blame a lot of young persons. Me being one of the persons who have gone through this process, I'm telling you, it could be tiring. A lot of the things are centralized, meaning that everything is in cash trees. Now, a bus ride already is $9, and it's not free. Nothing is free. You go, you do your name search, and then after that, this takes a little while. And I believe now you can do it online, right? But before, where you had to actually go up there, it takes some time, then you have to return to get it. If by chance somebody already have the business name that you have to come back, brainstorm again, and it is a long process and it could be tiring. Now, all of that again intimidates our young persons, and it is very much understanding. So there is so much that could be done in order to address this specific issue, right? But who are truly the actors? Who are the ones who should be in the forefront of addressing such issues when it comes especially to, let's focus on employment and entrepreneurship?
Okay, I believe you probably cut eyes for me when I answer that question, but I believe when it comes to that, we have a representative, as our youth officer, and we also have a youth worker. We have SRDF. We have youth-based organizations, and I believe that we need to be equipped to answer these questions. Where do I go to? So I am the president of the Fort Jackie Fun Sports Club, and I'm very aware of some individuals who have small businesses already or thinking of having a business.
Right.
But as a president, who do I tell them to go to? Do I tell them just go on a website and just fill in the form?
Right.
Like I was saying, are they able to fill in the form? Am I equipped to assist them with filling in that form? So these things, I think that's one of the reasons I would give kudos to what we had today, the youth symposium, because in airing our issues, hopefully and prayerfully, these issues will be addressed in the future, and issues like that don't have to be addressed in the future in 2040.
Right.
That is something that can be done or that can be addressed in a short space of time. Right. It's just giving me the information and the how to go about getting the funds or getting the training, because training is one thing that they need too. When you open a business, I'm going into the accounting world now. That's my field. In going to the business now, you have to be accountable. You have to know your expenses. If I am Bamboo, if I am doing my product, which is a cup, is it financially wise for me to buy from this person or that person? Comparing prices, even converting the prices of your products from EC to US. Am I going to make a profit? Because when you're a business, you want to make a profit. People tell you in the beginning that the startup of your business is going to be difficult, but with the knowledge of accounts, or not even finance, as a matter of fact, and business and a business mind too, I can say it can be simpler, easier with just that. So training is one thing that we can get for the youth, to entrepreneurs. Get the training for them because they need the training. You need your business to be sustainable. You need the knowledge. You cannot just continue taking, if you make $50 from doing hair, or $80 from doing hair, and then you go, sometimes you even underprice what you're doing,
Right.
because it takes time. So all of that in training, that you get the answers, and you're better able to sustain your business.
Okay. So in addition to the actors that you mentioned, of course you would have said I would have cut eyes for you, which I did. She knows why. But also with that, we're dealing with business. So this is where the Ministry of Commerce comes in. I too believe they need to review some of the requirements when it really comes to small businesses. Why again? Because so many businesses are just there and persons don't want to go through the whole process of getting registered because of how tiring it is. And I can tell you that. Also, Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, having the persons attached. So this is where the youth officer, the youth worker, and whoever else comes in, because they work alongside the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. They too need to be equipped with the knowledge of how to go about guiding these young persons through the process. Mm-hmm. Even assisting persons. There are persons who don't even know how to fill in a form, like you said. So just being there for them, ensuring that, hey, if I cannot do it as a youth worker or as a youth officer, somebody else, I could send it to somebody else, right? Now, who else? To me, even the district reps, this is where again you come in. We're not asking you to spoon feed our young persons, but they need your support. So, also with that, we have NGOs which also provide opportunities. I'll be very blunt and honest that NGOs actually provide more opportunities than like governments themselves for the state. I'll be honest about that. And this is where a lot of persons grow. So we too, as young persons, need to try to connect with these NGOs in order to get the opportunities that we need. So far we've looked at one, broad issue when it comes to entrepreneurship and employment. Any other issue that comes to mind under this key sector?
Just now, I just want to be a devil's advocate. You said that there are many requirements, and I keep hearing that. But as an organization that is giving funding, I too have to look out for myself.
Right.
You understand? And there are reasons why the requirements are so bulky or so much. Yes, they can make it easier, but I believe the answer is the guidance. We in Soufrière know that there are so many young entrepreneurs in Soufrière, be it in arts, in whatever.
Right.
They have the business. So we just need a facility with equipped personnel in there to assist us in filling out these forms.
Right.
Or into guiding us as to how can I get a financial statement, or how can I make my business good enough to get that funding, because we already know the requirements. So we actually do need these individuals a facility. And then, like I said, SRDF is the ideal place to go and get assistance. And not financial assistance. I'm not saying speaking, assistance can be financial, but sometimes we just need the support in filling it in, the information, the guidance. Guidance is the word. And there should be an office with one person, one or two or many people there who will assist in that regard. In a group of people that can assist in that regard.
Yes. And I totally agree with you. Now I'm not in the position. I'm not in a position to say whether or not there is such a person as yet. But of course, to those of you listening, of course, the persons of SRDF, just by chance, if you don't, this is a great suggestion. I believe this is something that could help in this regard. So hoping that you guys are taking note. So thanks so much, Ferrya, for that. And we have looked at employment and entrepreneurship. But I want us to move on to something that is very ticklish, which might take some time, which is crime. We're talking about youthful crime. I'm going to paint it as that, youthful crime. Now with crime, there's organized crime and there's disorganized crime. Organized crime is when, you're well professional and persons don't know that you're actually a criminal, but you're a criminal. So for example, you could see me going to work every day, proxy, but behind the scenes I'm a fraud. Right?
Yes.
So this is an issue, and it starts on, to me it's a grassroots thing that continues to grow. Right? Now, you being a young person, what would you say are some of the causes really of crime? And if you want to say challenges as well.
The causes of crime. Idle hand, devil's workshop, they're idle. Some of, like you said, they're organized crime, and there is the other one. I can't remember, but yes, it's just being idle at the end of the day. Some people, they have different types of crime. Some people would go to steal to make ends meet or to feed themselves because they don't have the opportunity, and sometimes it's not even their fault. It's where they come from, what they're seeing when they grow up. And I believe when it comes to discipline and law. Let me give a perfect example, and I guarantee you I might be getting some lashes for saying that, but then people will not see it in that light. Right now we have I wouldn't call it a fiasco, but we have a fiasco right now with I don't know, he's a doctor or lawyer, and the rule at the school is to have cut hair or whatever may the case be, right? So many people are saying, they have their views on it. Does your hair assist you in learning? Or you may say, my hair doesn't have any effect on me learning. From my end, I look at it from both. I said, okay, I don't see the problem with the young man having his hair. But on the other hand, that's a rule of the school.
Right.
Now, we may not see it in the light that it's a rule of the school. Permission can be sought to actually have the individual go to the school because they have Rastafarians going to that school. Right. Correct me if I am wrong. But the manner in which it is done, probably, I do not know the whole case, but I'm just saying from how we see it. Yeah. And people outside there, I even got into an argument with my mom. I said, but I went to convent, and then there are different things convent will not allow. That's the law of the school. But then there are ways to go around it. At the end of the day, you may see it not affecting him because right now these people in ministry or government, their hair all flared up, they have their afros, that's the way they carry themselves. But that's the rule of the school. And if we are doing this and telling this young man, yeah, you're telling him to stand for his rights too, but then different people give different views, and my thing is that we need to follow rules, and simple things like rules from the beginning when they're young, they don't follow it. When you grow up, how will you be in society? You wouldn't have respect for rules. And I think that's where crime comes in, because we don't have the respect, especially stealing, we don't have the respect of people's properties. Like, I can take whatever is in my possession, even if it doesn't belong to me, right? So the issue of crime is a very ticklish one, like you may say. We may sit down there and try and draw the entire list of what is the cause of crime. But my views on the cause of crime is idleness, desperation, poor parenting. Well, I wouldn't see that as poor, but I am giving what I have.
I have my reasons for saying poor parenting.
I understand, but so poor parenting in some cases, but as a parent, I give what I know. If we look at the youngsters now, we see that these teenagers they have as parents. Yeah. But like an individual say, if I don't know better, how can I teach my son better? And from we have to look at it as a cultural background too. If I'm surrounded and I grew up in a certain way, a vulgar way, I don't expect my son to not operate or not present himself in a vulgar way too. So it's very ticklish. That's my views.
Okay. Now, I agree with you. I agree with you to some extent.
As usual.
Oh, yes. But I really want to say, I think in as much as persons who are ideal are really the ones who are usually committing crimes, I still don't think it's one of the top reasons, really. Why? Because I think today we're in a society where young persons actually try to occupy themselves.
With what exactly?
We have so many young persons starting young businesses and finding what they're good at.
But these are not those who actually commit the crimes that we speak of.
But that is why I tell you too, they are organized crime.
I understand you completely, but what I'm saying is, when I touched on the reasons and the causes of crime, I was looking at a certain kind of crime. Okay. But if you want to go into cybercrime and frauds and these things, you will say things like people who are knowledgeable. Because too much knowledge can actually literally be a bad thing. Because cybercrime will not be committed by somebody that cannot operate technology. Yes. It has to be someone who knows so much about it that to actually commit a crime. Fraud, when you talk about money laundering, and all these things are people who know of it and how to do it. Right? So we can literally agree in many ways.
In a little way. Now, also, one of the things I believe, poor parenting. Now, when I say poor parenting, again, I'm not sure if everybody will agree with me, but you see, the thing is, we have some great persons where they take time to teach their children, but we have some who believe, I put you on earth, my half I see. Right? Now, this is where I say that attitude is basically already poor. Because, like you said, whatever the child was brought into, that's what they're most likely to continue with. Which is a cultural thing. In our society today, it's a cultural thing. Now, looking at it again, right? What would we say? We have actual young persons who come from homes that are great, or some spiritual homes where the parents pray and pray and pray, right? Yet still, Ferrya is laughing.
I'm sorry.
Yet still, the children are criminals. So what do you think is the problem there?
The problem there.
Let's not talk about spiritually.
Okay.
What do you think is the problem?
The problem there, and then the parent is not with the child for all the time. Like, the parent is not for all the time. Oh my goodness, the parent isn't there with the child all the time. You have friend influence, you have relative influence, you have so many. You have social media influence now.
I don't want you dwell on that.
You want
yet.
poor parenting?
No, because what I'm trying to make you understand is that many times we talk about poor parenting, and then we think like, yes, if there is sometimes we paint different young persons and say, mettez moi ça en sortir, bon kai, c'est mon regard l'église, et on keep on bon. But what they don't realize is, on my end, I'm seeing it like, okay, yes, that parent might be praying. You praying your heart out for your child, but at the same time, do you even have that connection with your child?
No, that's
what
the
you
thing.
praying for?
The communication between the parent and the child is a very important one.
Now, thank you.
Because the issue right there, it can be one of rebellion. The child is rebelling against what the beliefs of the parent is.
Not
because
sometimes they want to,
No.
but because of how they feel.
And probably again we have an issue of being a black sheep.
Right.
When you feel as if you not in your
you
parent,
don't fit in.
you don't fit in your family.
differently.
So then guess what? You're going to go to somewhere where you feel at home. And that might just be the situation of you falling into a criminal activity or you falling somewhere, unfortunately, at the time. So, like I said, good parenting, you have.
Now that's poor parenting right there. You see, that's what I'm trying to make you understand. Those sometimes we paint to be a good parent. That's actually poor parenting. Because what's the point of praying for the child? Really, you're trying to have a connection with God, but the child you need to have the connection with, that's the child you're praying for. Connect with the child before you try and connect with God. Because you're connecting, but all the connecting you're doing is in vain.
I understand you completely, but then again, like I tell you, so you have to, as children and as parents, we need to understand, well, as children, we need to understand our parents' backgrounds. I am not making excuses. No, let me tell you. If you go to therapy, you will learn this. You need to know. You seriously need to know. You seriously need to know who your parents are and how they were raised. Because sometimes things don't make sense to you. They'll tell you to do certain things, or you see as if they're trying to rule your life, but you need to know why. Yeah, it takes so much of you. Why should I go to my parents? They should be coming to me. Communication goes both ways.
That is true.
You will learn that is a difficult thing that I learned too, believe me.
Yeah,
it's a difficult thing,
you,
but
you know, I'm believing you, but I'm talking for my young persons as well, because I'm trying to think like typical young persons would think. While it is true, yeah, but you know young persons won't take the time to say, my mother went through this, my mother went through that. We're living in the present.
Then we'll say again, you're not me, I am not you, different experiences, that kind of thing.
So that is where I'm just showing you, I believe poor parenting could be both ways. So whilst we believe we're good at it, to be praying that you trying your best, I just believe something that could be done is just us trying to, not us, I'm not a parent yet, I take that back. Not yet. But I believe parents could try connecting with their kids.
Yes,
you know?
that is very
and
true.
That too would maybe be able to decrease the amount of crimes and troubles that we have today.
Yeah, it's very true, because people would just look at you doing crime and say, oh, vienek me say, oh, usab me say pani, whatever. They say so many things, but they don't know the issue.
Right.
They need to give you the avenue to speak and make you explain yourself. A lot of young individuals need a space. They need to feel as if it's free for them to speak to someone.
That's another point.
And that's the issue. Because when we bottle a lot of things up, and then we just explode.
And that is where, again, this is the other point I'll bring. Now, nice point there. Something else that we don't address is mental health. We don't address mental health.
Take it easy.
And that is why, again, we have
Yes.
crime. Because everybody wants to mitigate crime. Everybody.
But they're not going to the
But
issue. They're not
that
addressing
is
the issue.
actually the issue there. Mental health, parenting, these are the things, really. Like, honestly, but I think mental health has more to do with it. We have so many young persons stressed. Now, forgive me to those who are in the senior age who might believe young persons don't have stress. I don't know where you'll get that. But young persons have stress too. There are so many things that could stress you out. Being unemployed, not being able to feel accepted, and so much more. But even feeling pressured.
Yes, indeed.
Feeling pressured, that is unnecessary stress that young persons.
And even school children have stress. And people are like, what stress they have? Oh, you're not working, you don't have nothing. You have that kind of stress because you're learning about yourself.
Right.
You're getting your identity at that time. There are different emotions that you feel, and different when you go in all these chemical, physical, hormones and all that you're dealing with. And if you don't know how to channel it, and you don't have someone there guiding you, mentorship and all these, you feeling as if you're out of the world. You might just follow, you just be a follower at the end of the day. You follow things that seem to be making you happy. Or you have the social media influences where things look so nice and dandy on social media for different people's lives, even if they may look vulgar or whatever. However, this is what you want to be, because it looks like a way out. It looks like a simple life, a happy life.
And that is why, again, we too, and I go back to parents. Parents have a lot to do with the crime. Sorry.
I'm waiting for the day for you to be a parent, Lord.
No. I don't think.
But then again, for parenting, you have single parents, both single mother and fathers.
No, I'm going back.
And then you have the joint, both of them.
Nuclear, extended. Everybody have a part to play. What I'm coming, my other point is the pressure to. Sometimes we don't realize, like we said a while ago, a lot of families and persons believe young persons don't have stress. Even being a student, you can be maybe. Let me tell you, these little children, you see in infant school have stress. So when you see they tell you they stress,
don't stress me out.
They stress. Don't stress them out. They are stressed because you telling them put that there, then don't do that. But what you telling them to do, don't do that. But they're just there. You see? Now all of that
communication.
You building up the anger, that stress. Now with so many young persons being stressed, frustrated. They become idle because you tell me stop doing that, but you're not giving me something to do. Stop blame my fair. They find their hands
very
doing
idle.
Something. You understand? And that is where again.
Or what worse yet, they turn them to the TVs or the tablets. Right now, every young child, which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Every child you can think of, majority of them have tablets, and the reason why the parents would give the child a tablet is to shut them up, to make them be quiet. The child will be screaming, I want to cocoa melon, and then the parents just pull out their phone, look cocoa melon, just for the child to be quiet. I understand people will look at me and tell me, oh, I'm waiting for when you have your child, so you know when the child is screaming for things. But then
y'all keep on waiting and y'all won't see it. I'm telling you.
She's talking about herself though. Yeah, but then that's the thing. It's more of like, wow. It's parenting indeed has an effect on people, but at different levels we can take ownership of ourselves.
That is
because you cannot be 25 and 20. No, you cannot, because there are people. You should not be 25 and 26. We're still figuring out our lives, because statistically they say between 20 and 30 you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. I don't know about that part, but what I'm saying is you shouldn't continue blaming your parents or your poor parenting, because at that time right now you're an adult. You can decipher right from wrong and be a different person. But then again, you still need the guidance, you need the help. And people literally push counseling away for many reasons.
Especially in the black community.
Yes, because for many reasons, because they don't want to tell people their problems. My thing is that if you don't want to tell a person in your community their problems, well, go overseas. Not go overseas, but go to another community. But at least you need the guidance, seek the guidance. It can be just sitting down there not responding, but you need guidance. We all need guidance.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. With our young persons, it's a cultural thing. Like I said, you don't get persons wanting to go to counselors. But it's actually something that could help.
It does help.
It is something that can help you, like she mentioned, you're not comfortable with somebody in Ferrya? Go off your foot, go castle. Let me tell you, I just go off your foot.
Yeah, you go. There's a 211. I don't know if that number is still in it's in use, but there are these online counselors that you can go to, and we should find people to assist us, because if you're not safe mentally, then you literally not anywhere. You're not anywhere, because even if you try to hide it, you try to bottle it up, it will affect your progress, because we have something called trauma. And boy, trauma.
Yeah,
When it hits you, when it hits you because you've seen something, you probably say, okay, you know what, this happened to me, I'm going to put it at the back seat. And this happened to I'm going to put it in the back seat. But something similar happens, it just keeps getting worse and worse, and you're not dealing with the situation, you're running away from the situation, you're not addressing it as an individual, and you keep at it, it will slow you down. There is a point where you will see, yes, you do need the help, the assistance, call it help, call it assistance, call it guidance, call it something, but we need it.
Yeah, and we have somebody in the chat saying we have to support our community, which is very true. This is something that we need to do. So it's not just, I just don't believe it has to end in the home when young persons are out in the community. What about, us on the street? Just give and helping, and we know some of these young persons are stressed.
Very much so.
We know some of them, what they need, but just try. I mean, we're not expecting money. The young persons are not expecting money all the time, but as Ferrya mentioned, support is also important. Now, we've touched on crime, we've touched on entrepreneurship, unemployment. So the last thing I want us to touch on today is education. Yes, we know that too. Now, to me, education comes to play in all areas. You need education in basically everything. You're trying to mitigate crime, you need education. You have to educate in some way. So let's try to identify some of the challenges that our young persons face when it comes to education. We're not limiting it to the school.
The school, okay. When it comes to education, is accessibility to, first of all, I will start to an education. Some parents cannot even afford for their children to go to preschool. Where, and at that stage, your motoring skills and all your skills, that's where it starts. And when you go into infant school, they're not able to do as well. And they go up that entire ladder. And then when you go to secondary school, they have an opportunity to drop out. Right? My issue is, at the end of the day, we need a flow. Because education is not only in the school, like you say, it's in the community too. We need some connection between the community and the schools. Although the school is part of the community, but sometimes it seems separate, right? And boy, education is a broad thing. Whoa.
I think a challenge that I'll help you there. In the education system, we have a lot of persons again. Now you find some of our criminals, going back to the whole
are highly educated.
While on the other hand, you have some. The reason why they ended up there is because the education system didn't cater to them. So basically, I didn't learn anything. I had to drop out. There was nothing for me. Nobody was hiring me. No experience. No grades. Nothing. So what
else?
Do? Everybody have to eat, right? Mm-hmm. So this is where I say the education system is actually failing our young persons.
But then again, I can be a devil's advocate and tell you the education system cannot cater for every individual.
And then again,
in the structured system that we have right now, it cannot cater for every individual. Because look at an example. You look at a system and say, but in math, I love math. Everyone is like, X plus Y. Why are you doing that in my life?
I still wait to find it.
Frequency. Why am I getting that in my life?
I still wait.
And so there is no.
I still waiting to find that.
There is. How you mean?
No, but what I didn't that.
This is what you call problem solving.
No, you love math, so you see how you can.
Do you know there is an entire paper I actually read? I can't remember the points where math is actually applicable to life.
It is. We're not saying no, but there are aspects of it. Why are you?
But then again, you need to understand that the system now is trying to transition you from infant school to primary to secondary to tertiary. It depends on where you want to direct yourself. Mm-hmm. The education. I am not defending the education system. I'm saying I am. But then you need.
Post in there.
No, what I'm saying, I understand where you're coming from. Yes, it's failing. However, they try to cater generally. Mm-hmm. It's failing naturally in the case that some persons cannot get the CXCs or they don't make it to form free. Mm-hmm. But then again, you have the care program. People literally feel as if they're degrading themselves when going to the care program.
Now, this is where pause. Now, why? We need to ask ourselves why.
There's a stigma attached to it.
Exactly, there is a stigma attached. So I don't blame the students who don't want to go to
But
care.
listen to me, who is creating the stigma?
Even the teachers themselves. If I remember there was once, let me tell you, I was troublesome. Even I was intelligent, I was troublesome. I don't want to be around these smart people because I don't want to be around these people. They're smart and they're decent. I was troublesome and smart. Now I want to go to care. You come and tell me, okay, not the school for me. Who says care is not the school for me? Who knows? I'm a hands-on person. Look at me today. I have my business.
But do you condone technical vocations?
Yeah.
Yes. But now they're trying to instill it because they see the necessity of doing it.
Right.
However, what I'm saying is that the stigma attached. Who is creating the stigma?
The teachers.
No, my lord.
The parents.
Exactly, it's the communities. Our own self are creating the stigma, because the thing is, we do not know what the care
And the
school
children
is
don't know
about.
better at that age, you can't
People
really
need to
blame them.
stop breaking down the care schools back, and then you have great people who actually get their certification from the care program.
Exactly.
Doing much better than you and I are sitting in the office.
And getting a hand on.
Well, let me But anyway, yes, what I'm saying is the opportunities are there. And then again, I was told once recently, someone was saying, when an individual tried to tell somebody, you know what, why don't you try to get your child to go to the care school? The parent was like, what you trying to call my child, retarded or something? Because it's ignorance. They don't appreciate the value of the school. They don't know what the school gives. There are so many persons that have attended the care school, and they're doing good. There's a technical vocational school in Viewfort.
There is still?
I don't know if it's still open now, but they used to be.
They got my farm.
Exactly. And then once ever you hear about TEDVOC, it's a whole stigma about the people not. They are hands-on.
Now, somebody in the comments just said St. Lucia needs more trade school for young people. Not everyone that's college material, which is true.
That is very true, and I'm not saying this.
I am very disappointed.
I'm not saying this, sorry.
I have to say this. I'm very disappointed. Whoever, I don't know which administration, whether it was that one or that one, whoever decided to get rid of TEDVOC, that was the vocational school.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest idea ever.
But isn't Marigold vocational school too? Sorry, Odlum, the Odlum.
Odlum, Marigold, remember guys?
There are. They actually did.
Yes, but no. How functional is it like it was in the south? Like,
okay.
You don't really.
We don't get the
even
opportunities.
hear,
Yes.
About it like that. They don't promote it as much
as they
you
should.
would have known TEDVOC in Viewfort. And I find that was a great school. And to remove it, a school like that in the south. Hello, we need a school like that in the south. Hello, we need a school like that in the south.
More southwester.
Yes. Everything is centralized. We need one too. Now, the thing about it is, like I was saying, why I say it's failing them, because now we're trying to force it in the system. Right? Now, what about those who were there and they needed it? Now they're just there. And now skill training courses are so expensive.
But then you have, I'm not saying, but then you do have NSDC programs going on, which is for free. And again, it's accessibility to the information. And what I'm saying is, that's where, going back to our symposium where we started, that is where, in the community of Sufre, we need a center where all that information is there, available, and you can walk in to get the information.
I think we have one, but that's one other show.
That is okay. But we need a functioning one. If we do have one, we need a functioning one.
We have one. Y'all know we have one. Y'all just need to start functioning.
We will. Well, the two of us and many more need to get them to get it functioning more.
I get an exercise then. Okay, I don't see it. But you have a point, Ferrya. You have a point.
Thank you.
It's true. I mean, these things are things that needs to be put in place, because this is where the information needs to go in order for us as young persons to receive it. So with all that has to do with educating. Now, coming down to who is responsible,
that's the thing.
the community. we as a
At
community,
large.
we are responsible. Despite the fact that we have the Ministry of Education who needs to come on board, the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, our NGOs, our district rep, you name it. We as a community, we need to do some educating. We need to try to find things to help ourselves as well.
Yes, we do.
Now, I'm hoping that in the future, all of these things that we have already discussed,
In the short term and the long term.
in the short term and the long term, that we'll see some type of change.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've said so much in a short space of time. We have discussed this before. We've discussed this before, and I know persons know, and they know how to move forward. You don't know why they're taking so much time, but they know how to move forward. So, Ferrya, last place, right? So my last question to you: what do you think should be done for all of the areas that we have discussed? If you had to choose one of these areas, so we touched on entrepreneurship and employment, and we touched on crime and now education. In all three, which one do you think should be priority?
Oh my, I wish sports was in that one. Entrepreneurship, hold on. I'm just trying to go through it in my head. I would say education.
Right.
Reason I'm saying education is because when you look at education, all of them involves education. Not, I might say education, I don't mean going to university and all of that, but educating yourself as to how to go about being a young entrepreneur, how to be self-employed. Well, that's your entrepreneurship. How to better yourself as an employee when you are employed. In crime, if you occupied with education and getting yourself involved, then you're not going to be idle. Well, you still probably think of crime, but at least it will be at a lower level.
Maybe you will be educated as to the other ways of life.
Yes, the other ways of life. So you would broaden your mind as to what else to do. Because, and one more thing we didn't speak about, when you're looking at when I grow up, what I want to be, I feel as if our minds as young people isn't broadened enough. It's structured as teacher, doctor,
That's what we're
lawyer.
That's the culture.
That is the culture. A fireman, a policeman, and some people cannot fit in those help me, in those professions. There you go, in those professions. And then you have engineers, civic engineers, civil engineers, all kinds of engineers, mechanical engineering, which actually makes more money than all the knows. But yeah, you have these other occupations which we should try to get our youth into, to have a broader spectrum in St. Lucia.
Yes, and thank you so much, Ferrya, for that. And I definitely agree with her when she said that education should be number one. Because like I mentioned a while ago, in order to get rid of crime and everything else that comes with it, education has to play some part. You have to educate in some way. And so I'm hoping again that I will mention our actors, the persons who I believe who need to listen and go back. If you missed out on anything, you can always go back and listen to the recording. Our number one actors that we're calling upon this afternoon: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, Ministry of Commerce, district representatives, NGOs, and us as a community. We're just asking everybody, try and work in your capacity, do your job, do what you have to do. Our youth workers, our youth officers, do what you have to do. You're getting paid, do your job. Don't just sit there, warm the seat, and expect yourself to look good. But try your best to ensure that you're carrying out your work effectively and the way that you should. So, of course, Ferrya, I want to thank you so much for coming here on such short notice with me this afternoon. Of course, we came from our youth symposium, and we just decided to share with you some of the information that was discussed today, dwelling on a few of them. And there was so much more. However, we have a short space of time and we were not able to cover everything this afternoon. But I'm letting you know that there is more coming for us as young persons in the community. So young persons, let me tell you, we have vibes, we have stuff. Let me tell you, we're definitely the future of today and not tomorrow, because we are in charge.
Yes, so she is calling out all the people to assist us, but the youth needs to get themselves involved.
That's why I said community, yes.
No, we need to stress that the youth need to get themselves involved. They've been having symposiums for the longest while in Sufre SRDF, agricultural symposiums. I'll list them for you. Education. We have sports and wellness. We have fishing, cultural, youth development, tourism, theological, health, business and entrepreneurship, and public service. All of this is just get the feedback from us, the community, so they can actually bundle it all up and make a better Sufre.
Yeah.
Do not say, I will not sit down there and speak, and at the end of the day, my voice will just be on a recording or whatever. Make sure you're involved and make a difference. And I'm glad you're not feeling that way anymore.
Yes, praise the Lord.
Make a difference. Speak up.
And as Ferrya said, speak up. My end note would basically be, feel free to always speak up. Young persons, for me, from time you have energy, still you young. I don't like to call people old. So if you feel you have some vibrancy in your spirit, your bones still soft and you're ready to go, I believe you can contribute. Whatever you can. If you can just walk into the SRDF office, whether it be the one in the studio side or the one in town, just let them know, hey, I came to give some feedback or suggestion on whatnot. If they reject you, tell me. But I'm telling you, you won't get rejected. If you get rejected, something must be wrong. They must be having a bad day.
Contact Edisa Eugene.
I don't know what that is, but yes, go there, contribute, do what you have to do. We all as a community need to ensure that we're working for the best. And so this is where I end this afternoon on Youth Voices. It is always a pleasure to be in studio with you, my sweet listeners, both via radio and via our Facebook platform. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. I am your host, Miss Edisa Eugene, and see you next week.
Welcome to Youth Voices with your host, Miss Edisa Eugene, where we focus on youth advocacy, youth empowerment in academics, entrepreneurship, sports, marginalized youth, and more. Tune in every Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Youth Month 2022. Devant ensemble et toute jeunesse. Evolve. Growing youth for an inclusive and transformed society. Are you ready?
When I look at where I'm coming from,